My buddy leases a brand new E-Class. He pays close to $900 a month for the privilege of watching it lose value faster than he can wash it. And every scheduled service ticket that lands on my counter has more zeros than his down payment did. After 22 years under the hood, I've learned the one thing the luxury dealers pray you never figure out. The badge on that grille is the most expensive lie in the car business. So today, I'm handing you 5 sedans that ride softer, last longer, and cost less than a used Camry, cars that make a new Mercedes look like a flat-out scam. Number 5 gets it started. Number 1 will change how you shop forever. Let's get into it. Number 5, Cadillac CTS. Let me start with the one nobody expects a Toyota-loving mechanic to recommend. Because here's the thing about the CTS, General Motors built a genuine BMW fighter, priced it against the Germans, and then watched the used market forget it existed, which is exactly why you can steal one today. A customer of mine, a retired school teacher, came in about a year ago, clutching a printout for a used BMW 528i. 3-year-old car, $24,000, and she wanted me to look it over before she signed. I pulled it up, checked the service records, and saw what was coming: a car that was going to need cooling system work, oil consumption babysitting, and electronics repairs that cost more than her monthly mortgage. I told her flat out, "You are about to buy a $24,000 headache." She asked what I would get instead. I pulled up a 2017 Cadillac CTS 3.6 Premium Luxury, 61,000 miles, sitting at $15,800. Same class of car, rear-wheel drive, better handling, half the repair anxiety. She bought it. 14 months later, total repair spend? A set of brake pads and 1 cabin filter. That is it. Here's why the CTS works. You want the 3.6-liter V6, and specifically the LFX version from 2012 and up, because the earlier LLT motor had some timing chain wear you want to avoid. The LFX is a smooth, naturally aspirated 304 to 335 horsepower V6, no turbos waiting to grenade, no dual clutch nonsense, just a proper 6-speed or 8-speed automatic and rear-wheel drive that makes this thing corner like it is on rails. Cadillac's engineers were obsessed with beating the 5 Series on a racetrack, and they got close, but the market treats it like a rental car. The numbers are almost insulting. A 2017 CTS 3.6 in premium luxury trim runs about $14,000 to $16,000 right now. The comparable BMW 5 Series or Audi A6 from the same year, $22,000 to $26,000, and they will cost you double to keep running once the German electronics start throwing tantrums. Owners on Kelley Blue Book rate the second-generation CTS a 4.6 out of 5 for reliability. That is above average for anything, let alone a luxury sedan. If you're shopping 3 things. First, listen for a rattle on cold start. That's your timing chain check on the 3.6, and it's why I steer people toward 2012 and newer. Second, test every function of the CUE infotainment screen. Cadillac's early touchscreens got laggy, and the haptic buttons wore out. A replacement runs about $500, so negotiate hard if it's glitchy. Third, check the tires and suspension on the sport-tuned models. People drove these hard, and worn control arm bushings will clunk over bumps. Who should buy it? Anybody who wants a driver's car with a leather-lined interior for the price of a base Corolla. Who should skip it? If you need cheap dealer parts on every corner, GM luxury bits cost a little more than mainstream. But that's the only catch. If the CTS is the sleeper, this next one is the flagship nobody remembers Ford even built. Number 4, Lincoln Continental. This is the car that genuinely makes me laugh when I see the sticker it wore new. Lincoln brought back the Continental name in 2017 as a full-on flagship, 30-way power seats with massage, a cabin quieter than a library, rear legroom that embarrasses cars costing 3 times as much. Edmunds straight up said it offered the same technology and luxury you would get from a Mercedes S-Class or BMW 7 Series at a fraction of the price. And now that fraction has become a joke because these things depreciated off a cliff. A guy I've known for years, drives for a living, came to me wanting something that felt like a limo but wouldn't bankrupt him on repairs. He had been eyeballing a used S-Class and I nearly threw a wrench at him. I told him about the Continental instead. He found a 2018 Reserve, loaded, 54,000 miles, for around $22,000. Sat him in it and he thought he was in a car twice the money. 2 years on, 0 major failures. His words, "Why does this car cost nothing? Because it says Lincoln on the trunk and people still think that means Grandpa." Here's the mechanic's move on the Continental. Skip the twin-turbo motors and buy the base 3.7-liter V6. It is naturally aspirated, 305 horsepower, part of Ford's proven Cyclone 5.6 family, backed by a plain 6-speed automatic. No turbos to fail, no exotic hardware. The 2.7 and 3.0 EcoBoost twin turbos are quicker, sure, but they add complexity and heat, and I would rather send you home in something boring and bulletproof. The 3.7 will cruise all day and ask for nothing but oil. A 2017 Continental now sits around $13,000 to $14,000. A 2020 in nice shape is around $20,000. That car stickered north of $45,000 new, a 2017 base model, has shed roughly a quarter of its value in just 3 years, and far more from its original price. Meanwhile, the cabin materials, the seat comfort, the sound insulation, that is, flagship stuff. You are buying $60,000 of engineering for the price of a used economy car. Inspecting one. First, test the electronic door releases. The Continental uses E-latch buttons instead of normal handles, and the mechanism can act up. Second, run every seat adjustment through its full range. Those multi-way motors are expensive to fix, so make sure they all work before you buy. Third, on the turbo cars, check for oil weeping around the turbos and listen for drivetrain clunks on the all-wheel drive units. Who is this for? Highway warriors and comfort seekers who want to arrive relaxed. Who should pass? If you want a corner carver, this is not it. It is a front-wheel drive-based cruiser built to glide, not to attack. But if you think that is soft, wait until you hear what my next pick does to a repair bill. Number 3, Lexus ES 350. Now we get into the stuff I actually recommend to my own family. The ES 350 is what happens when Lexus takes the most reliable sedan platform on earth and wraps it in leather and silence. IC Cars ranks it the #1 most reliable vehicle in the entire luxury midsize category. RepairPal gives it a 4.5 out of 5, and roughly 3.7% of every ES 350 ever built has crossed 150,000 miles and kept going, more than double the class average. These cars refuse to die. I had a woman bring one in last year, a 2013 with 148,000 miles, worried something big was coming. I put it on the lift, pulled codes, checked the transmission fluid, inspected the whole undercarriage. You know what I found? Nothing. Original everything. I told her to come back in 40,000 miles. She didn't believe me. The heart of it is the 2GRFE, a 3.5-liter V6 that's arguably one of the most reliable engines ever mass-produced. Same engine family that powers the RX and the Camry. It uses a timing chain, so there's no belt to replace on a schedule. No turbo, no CVT. Just 268 easy horses that never work hard enough to hurt themselves, paired with a traditional automatic that's proven over more than a decade. Set it and forget it is the reputation, and it's earned. The value is where it gets fun. A clean 2015 ES 350 sits around $18,000 to $19,000. A 2012 with reasonable miles can be had under $10,000. A 2007 in decent shape? I've seen them at $6,500. Compare that to any German near luxury sedan of the same age, and you're saving thousands up front and thousands more in maintenance every single year. This is the cheapest way to buy genuine Lexus reliability with a soft, quiet, luxury ride on top. If you're shopping one first, check for oil consumption habits on the higher mileage examples. Pull the dipstick warm and make sure the level's where it should be. Second, feel the front suspension over bumps. Worn strut mounts are cheap, but a good negotiating chip. Third, test the Mark Levinson audio if it's equipped, because a dead premium head unit is a pricey fix on an otherwise dirt cheap car. Who buys it? Anyone who wants to spend the next 200,000 miles not thinking about their car. Who skips it? If you crave sharp handling or a sporty feel, the ES is a cloud, not a scalpel. That's the whole point. But if the ES is the safe money, this next one is the boldest deal on this entire list. Number 2. Hyundai Genesis and Genesis G80. If you subscribe to nothing else I say, hear this. The used luxury market has never produced a bigger bargain than the Hyundai Genesis and the Genesis G80 that replaced it. This is a car that undercut the Germans when it was new and then depreciated so violently that buying one used feels like a clerical error in your favor. Let me give you the number that made my jaw drop. The 2016 Genesis 5.0 stickered at $54,800 brand new. Today, a typical example goes for around $15,100. That's roughly 72% of its value gone. Not because it's a bad car, because it's a Hyundai with a Mercedes-sized price tag that the market never psychologically accepted. Their loss is your driveway's gain. Under the hood, you've got choices. The 3.8-liter V6 with over 300 horsepower is smooth and durable. But the one that makes grown men grin is the Tayu V8, 4.6 or 5.0 liters, up to 420 horsepower. An engine that's genuinely refined and genuinely quick. Inside, you get a 14 or 17 speaker Lexicon audio system, real leather, a cabin that goes toe-to-toe with cars costing twice as much. And here's the kicker the Germans can't match. Hyundai and Genesis back the powertrain with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty from the original sale. On a car this cheap, that's protection you simply cannot find on a used S-Class. The math on a G80 is comedy. A 2019 G80 3.3-liter has already shed about 35% in 3 years, landing around $20,000 today, and it drives like something with a much prouder badge. A comparable BMW 5 Series or Mercedes E-Class of the same vintage costs more up front and will drain your wallet on repairs the Genesis simply doesn't need as often. Now, I'm honest with my customers, so here's the homework. First, check for open recalls. Both the Genesis and its Equus sibling had a few, so run the VIN and confirm everything's been addressed. Second, budget for fuel because that V8 drinks. If you do lots of city miles, the V6 is the smarter play. Third, test that rotating infotainment controller and touchpad for dead spots. A sluggish central display can signal an expensive module, so make sure it responds cleanly before you buy. Who should grab one? Someone who wants the absolute most luxury per dollar on the road and doesn't care what the neighbors think of the badge. Who should hesitate? If you obsess over resale value, this car will depreciate on you too. But you're buying at the bottom, so you're taking the hit somebody else already ate. And that brings us to the one. The car I recommend over every other luxury sedan on the planet, and the one that makes a new Mercedes look like an outright con. Number 1. Lexus LS 460. This is it. This is the poor man's S-Class, and I mean that as the highest compliment I can pay a car. When Lexus built the LS 460, they aimed it dead center at the Mercedes S-Class, the BMW 7 Series, and the Audi A8. Same segment, same mission, except Lexus did the unthinkable. They made a flagship limousine with Toyota's reliability DNA baked into every bolt. And the used market, in its infinite stupidity, prices these like used minivans. Let me tell you about the customer who argued with me over this one. A businessman, mid-50s, dead set on a used S-Class, budget around $30,000. He wanted the badge. I walked him out to the lot and pointed at a black LS 460 that had rolled in that morning for service, 190,000 miles, original engine, running like a Swiss watch. I told him, that car has outlived 3 of the S-Classes you're looking at, and it costs half as much to own. He test drove one that week, bought a 2013 LS 460 for around $17,000 with 84,000 miles. Called me a month later just to say the S-Class dealer had quoted him $4,200 for an air suspension repair on the Mercedes he almost bought. His Lexus? Nothing but oil. Here's why this engine is the star of the whole show. The LS 460 runs the 1UR FSE, a 4.6-liter V8 making 380 horsepower, paired with an 8-speed automatic that was actually the first 8-speed transmission ever put into a production car. No timing belt. It's chain-driven and built to last the life of the vehicle. No turbos to fail. This engine shares its architecture with Toyota's most durable platforms, and I have personally seen these motors sail past 250,000 miles without cracking the block open. It just runs and runs and runs, while wrapped in one of the quietest, most sumptuous cabins ever assembled. Now brace yourself for the prices, because this is where a new Mercedes starts to look like highway robbery. The average used LS 460 sells for around $16,600, with clean, lower mileage examples in the low $20,000 range and higher mileage survivors dipping under $10,000. This car stickered near 6 figures when it was Mercedes S-Class money new. A comparable used S-Class of the same era will cost you more to buy and then bleed you dry. Air suspension failures, electronics gremlins, repair bills that routinely hit 4 figures for a single visit. The LS 460 gives you 95% of that flagship experience with maybe 10% of the drama. That is the entire scam laid bare. You are paying for a 3-pointed star, not for a better car. When you go shopping, here's my inspection checklist, and follow it. First, I steer people toward the 2007 to 2012 models. They have the simpler, easier-to-use interface before Lexus added the fussy remote touch controller in 2013, though the 2010 and up cars get that slick 8-speed. Second, and this is the big one, find out if it has the air suspension. It's glorious when it works, but it's the one genuinely expensive system on the car, so test that the ride height is even at all 4 corners, and there's no sagging after it sits overnight. If it's dropped or uneven, walk or negotiate hard. Third, run the entire climate and infotainment suite. A dead navigation or air conditioning control unit is one of the few costly repairs on an otherwise indestructible car. Fourth, my pro tip, hunt for one owned by an older driver who garaged it and did every service on time. A pampered, low-mileage LS 460 with full records is one of the best-kept secrets in the entire car market. Who should buy this? Anyone who wants to be driven in silence and comfort for the next decade for the price of a used economy car. Anyone who's tired of watching German luxury owners cry at the service desk. Anyone smart enough to ignore what a badge is supposedly worth, who should skip it? If you need something small and nimble for tight city parking, this is a big, long limousine. And if you buy specifically for a name to impress strangers, well, that's the exact disease this whole video is trying to cure. So there it is. 5 sedans the market forgot, but a mechanic never would. The Cadillac CTS that outhandles the Germans for half the money. The Lincoln Continental flagship that depreciated into a punchline. The Lexus ES 350 that simply refuses to break. The Genesis that gives you the most luxury per dollar on earth, warranty included. And the Lexus LS 460, the poor man's S-Class, the flagship that makes a new Mercedes look like a straight-up scam. Next time a salesman tries to steer you toward a shiny new luxury lease, you'll know the truth. You can buy a better riding, longer-lasting, more comfortable car for a third of the price and pocket the difference. If this saved you from a 5-figure mistake, hit subscribe. I've got more videos on the cars dealers push versus the ones that actually make sense. Take care of a good car, and it'll take care of you. I'll see you in the next one.